Today we continue with our class Halachos of Brochos, and we finished official section, and we're going to start with what is called handbook. Okay. So we start with Sefer Halachos of Chaim, and the topic is the big topic is the same. Believe in Lashon Hara, believe in Rechilus. And today's topic relative reports. It is forbidden to believe Rechilus, even if the speaker is someone very close to the listener and would not want to draw him into the feud unnecessarily. Even though it is clear that the speaker has only good of the listener in mind, his account of the story may not be accepted as a fact. So somebody is close, your parent, of course, who loves you very much, who wants to protect you, only wants the good for you. So he or she told you the story, so you cannot exactly believe it 100% as it should. If one finds it difficult to convince himself that the report is totally false, he must at the very least assume that the speaker's interpretation of the incident is mistaken, and that no ill will was intended by the subject. Okay, so maybe if you cannot say that it's 100% false, maybe there's something true, but it's still misinterpreted. So as I said before, I witnessed many times when I and somebody else were in some situation, and 5 minutes later this guy would tell over the story. I was like, you serious? I was there. How would you say so? It was totally opposite of what happened. Okay. As stated above, if the report was intended to save him from the harm, he must of course protect himself on the possibility of that may be true. So as we said, on one hand we cannot believe, on another hand we cannot be fools and naive. We have to take precautions. Okay, stop here. So as I said, we finished the official complete book. It's many pages, Baruch Hashem. And we come to the handbook. So handbook is a list of all of the foods. I mean, not all of the foods. It's approximately 700 foods, approximately, right? And what brachas do we make of that on them, right? And some on some of them they would have some explanations. So if something is straightforward, I'm going to go a little quicker. But if you see something interesting, please stop me. So I'm not going to ask if you have questions. Just stop me if you want me to explain why is that so. Okay. So it's in alphabetic order. So A, acorn squash. So it's hadama borei nefashos. So it's first column is what is it? Is food. Second is Brocha Rishona, the blessing before the food, and the last column, the third column is Bracha Achrona, meaning the end blessing. Continue. Ale. So you say shechakol, as it's drink, and borei nefashos. Alfalfa sprouts. So it's shechakol and borei nefashos. So and it says so why is it on one hand it sprouts, right, and then we say shechakol. Why is that? Because they do not grow from the ground. Very simple. They grow I think from the beans or something. Okay. Continue. All bran. So all bran cereal, right? They say cereal. So all bran it's not actually not food. Right? It used to be the food of the animals or very poor people, but today, if you want to, they sell it in a health food store, right? Charge you much more than for normal flour. Okay, so on this all bran you say shechakol and borei nefashos, and the explanation for this bran is the outer shell of grain. Therefore, for the cereals made from bran only, there is not containing wheat or oats, or oats flour, made shechakol. So and plus it was when it was grinded, right? When it was grinded, so it's for sure it's shechakol. The milk eaten to enhance the cereal is covered by bracha on the cereal. So it's most of the time when you eat cereal with milk, or some people eat with apple juice. So it's always covered. Almonds, right? So on almonds we say cho'etz, right? And blessing Borei Nefashos. And commentaries say if he also ate kizayis of grapes or other fruits of 7 species, all eights will exempt the almonds from Borei Nefashos. Again, Bracha Achrana requires the natural items, which are whole. See, for example, whole items. See page 245. So let's see what it says here. It's very interesting. So if somebody ate grapes, right? Grapes is one of these 5 species, one of the 7 species, right? That the land of Israel is blessed with. So you have this Me'am Shalosh, this long blessing, three parts blessing, right? So even though you say this blessing for the grapes, but if you ate any other fruits, for example, these almonds, these other fruits are also covered, right? And in the second part of the comments, we said there is a disagreement in the poskim, and it says like here he presents something like I don't know, like something maybe a minority opinion, but in Shulchan Aruch he says very strong opinion. It's not like a secondary opinion, very strong opinion. What is a strong opinion? That if you eat something that is complete, right, the complete almond, so so there is strong opinion to say after blessing. So meaning what? You don't have to eat kizayis, right? Even if you eat one almond, so you would need to say the after blessing. So our sages say, so if you to get out of the situation, to get out of the doubt, right? Even though according to second opinion, only if you eat kizayis, so to get out of the diet, eat kizayis, or eat like cut the almonds, something like that. Don't eat whole foods. Not only almonds, like small complete fruits or vegetables. Continue. Next one is almond chocolate covered. So almond chocolate covered. So they see chocolate covered nut. So we said in that section. So if person prefers chocolate, right? So he can bite off a little chocolate, say the blessing, and then he say on a nut, right? If he wants to. But if he likes if he like nuts, and chocolate is to improve the nuts, so he says bara prichaetz, and it is a whole, and everything is covered. Okay. So next one, almonds clusters, and it says let's say almonds clusters candy, see chocolate covered fruit nuts, almonds clusters cereals, wheat. I'm not sure what is it. Almond clusters. I'm not sure. It's some kind of candy. So I guess the same as chocolate covered nuts. Okay. So next one, almonds sugar covered. So sugar covered. I mean, I think they they fry it in sugar. So commentaries say, if coating is hard and eaten before the nut, make shechakol. Then before eating the nut, make cho'etz on the nut. So it's very interesting. So since if they say if coating is hard, so usually it is hard. It covers like the piece of ice or something, right? That is not, right? So he said make on. I would say make on something else, maybe even if you have some drink or whatever you have, make shechakol, and then you can eat. You can buy this piece of sugar. Right, not piece of sugar, but sugar covering, and then make on a nut, blessing on a nut. If mostly sugar with a little bits of nuts, no separate bracha on nuts. So meaning they have bits like they cut on almonds or something, like in small pieces, like one almond they would cut on. Maybe even on 10 pieces, 8 pieces, like tiny pieces, and fry it in a sugar. So for sure you say So they say blessing on the sugar because sugar is a majority. If the candy is too hard and kizai is not eaten within kidei hilas pras, no bracha achrona. However, if kizai is eaten within kidei hilas pras, make bran nefashos. So as we said, kidei achilas pras meaning 3 to 4 up to 9 minutes. So only then you can say after blessing. Next one is ground almond. Almonds ground. So okay. So it's like a powder or something, right? Commentary: if eaten to enhance another food, food is covered by the bracha on other food. So I'm not sure what, like they would like sprinkle this, I guess, these ground almonds, maybe on ice cream, I don't know. When not eaten to enhance another food and not ground so finely that it is recognizable, make her eights and bare nefashos, provided that he ate at least kizais, was eaten within kidei hilas pras. Amount required for bracha achrona is generally not eaten. Okay, so all right, so let's try to understand what he's saying here. So if it's let's say he sprinkles on ice cream, no problem, it's covered. So you say blessing on ice cream, it covers the nuts, no problem. But if it's eaten as it is, I'm not sure why would somebody eat as it is, for whatever reason, right? And you still see the pieces of nuts, so then it contains, it keeps its own blessing, original blessing, which is bright pricho eights, right? But if you cannot recognize pieces of whatever you're eating, you say shechakol. Okay. Okay, so he said again, so you need to eat kizayas, and he said usually kizayas is not eaten. I guess why? Because it's because it's not real food. It's more than like to improve other foods. Okay, continue. American cheese. We say shechakol bare nefashos. And he says also seek crackers with cheese. So crackers with cheese, just to remind us, so if you have a cracker and you want to improve cracker, you like crackers, like you're hungry, so you would eat the cracker for satiation. Put piece of cheese, so you say on top, you say a blessing on a cracker, and it covers cheese. But if you like cheese as much as you like crackers, so of course you need to say two separate blessings. So it's not like they're not mixed; they're two separate foods. Okay, and nothing is improving another food. Okay, so I think like even though in many of these examples somehow this rabbi insists that that people would like crackers more than cheese. I mean, I don't know. Like in my opinion, the cheese is more desirable than cracker. That's what I think. So in this case, in most of the cases, if it is true, so you would need to make two blessings because they're not mixed. It's not one dish. One on top of the other is not one dish. Right? Continue. Anchovies. We say shechakol bare nefashos. Anchovies are a type of food. If eaten on a cracker, may be exempt by bracha on a cracker. So exactly the same idea. Anchovies. Okay. So this anchovies, just a side note, that they make a barbecue sauce, and for this special taste, they put anchovies in there. So you have to check. Or you in the last 5 years, I think. I mean, I used to sign up for the emails. It was too many emails, too many alerts. I stopped receiving. That was too much. But I remember 5 or 7 years ago, they would put a stamp or you fish. And we actually had this, had this barbecue sauce. So of course we would eat only fish, right? Because you're not allowed to eat fish with meat. Okay, out of the danger. It's not because of kosher, but out of the danger. Continue. Apple, right? So you say choetz, barepri choetz, fruit of the tree, barene fashos. If he ate kizayis of grapes or the other fruit of the 7 species, the al choetz will exempt on apple. So okay, so if you say, same halacha as before. So if you say these raisins, or if you say you ate grapes and all other fruits, so you say blessing on the grapes, and apples are covered, even though on apples separately you would say totally different blessing. Okay. So continue. Apple beet salad. Barene fashos. So basically, it's very interesting. I never seen a bad apple beet salad. Okay, but we can understand. So on apple you say fruit of the tree, and on the beets you say fruit of the ground if you eat it separately, right? So the blessing is going by majority. If the beets are majority ingredients, and bracha Rishona is chadama. If apples are majority, the ingredients bracha Rishona is choetz. So it goes by the majority. So even though you say on the mixture, because it's salad, it's a mixture. Usually they cut in. I understand the salad like in smaller pieces. So you would in one fork spoon, right? You would have beets and apples, right? So in this case you say only one blessing. So even if apples are majority, you say barepri choetz, fruit of the tree. And even though if you say fruit of the tree on a beet separately, it would not be covered. In this case, it would be covered because you say only one blessing on the mixture. A cracker and cheese is not mixture. Salad is mixture. Continue. Apple cake. So apple cake, we say mizoines. Now we go to after blessing, okay? So the after blessing, they say see commentary. If kizayis mizoines eaten within kidei hilas pras, ala michia. If less than kizayis of mizoines is eaten, barene fashos, provided that between filling and mizoines, 1 kizayis was eaten. If large part of cake is eaten, okay. Okay, so see another page. So now we have an apple cake. So apple cake is not apple pie. Apple pie is a totally different story. So you have like a biscuit and some like apples inside. So you always say barem name is for sure. That's the first blessing because it's the more important food. But after blessing would after blessing we would need to see if he ate enough of dough of the mizoines, because like many times in this apple case there are a lot of apples and they're very heavy. So I mean even the piece of the cake that you ate is heavy, but if you take out the apples it would not be much. So a person must be sure that he ate kizayis, like one ounce at least. So if he ate kizayis only with apples, so we say the blessing barene fashos, and of course this mizoines, this cake is joined to the apple. Okay. They combine to create what kizayis. Continue. Apple carrot tzitzis. So it's Ashkenazic dish. So it's when people were very poor in Europe. So many times they could not afford sugar. So sugar was like on Shabbos only, right? So but apple is sweet, naturally sweet. Carrots also somewhat sweet. So they would say have this like tzitzis. So and even when something is good, something very delicious, they would call it tzitzis, like something sweet. It's very interesting. So of course we say barepri chodama, because why? Because it's mostly carrots. Carrots was always cheaper food, as we understand, right? So it was always the majority, very simple. And after that we say barene fashos. Okay. Continue. So if any questions or comments, please stop me. Please stop me. Go ahead. So, but I cannot remind you every time to ask me a question, please. So if you have a question, just start talking. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Pertaining to the salads, that goes with the same thing. You say like if you, I know some people eat nuts with the salads and stuff like that. So it'd be the majority, which would be the greens, correct?
Yeah. So we go by majority. So sometimes I know like people sprinkle sunflower seeds, like pumpkin seeds and dry cranberry, all of this, but it's extra. It has nothing to do with salad. We go by majority. It's only minority. So on all of the salads, on all of the mixture, we say only one blessing. So sometimes we have to think what blessing to make, but it's only one blessing. Unless they have mizoines, unless. So if you have a lot of croutons there, so that then you will need to say 2 blessings, but otherwise 1 blessing. Any other questions? Okay. So next one is the apple compote, homemade applesauce. In parentheses, compote is not applesauce. Okay, so we're going to explain now. I'm not sure what he said. Homemade applesauce. Or apple compote. Okay, yeah, apple compote is homemade applesauce. Okay, no problem. So compote is like a soup, or is a fruit soup. So usually they make it from they cook it from dry vegetables, dry fruits. Okay, so here they say applesauce, right? So in this case, homemade applesauce, right? So we say chofetz and barei nefashos, right? Why do we say chofetz? Because usually, like today, of course, we have all of these mixers, we have all the blenders and this, all of the gadgets and very fancy schmancy, but all the days people didn't have that, right? So if it's a homemade, for sure you see pieces, you know for sure it's apple. So commentary: homemade apple compotes generally contain solid pieces or strands of apple. So you see it's recognizable. Since they're intact, pieces of the fruits in a compote, the brocha is chofetz. Okay. So, but if you buy this commercial applesauce, for example, what Mott's sell them, so for sure you say shechakol, because it's so refined, you cannot see the pieces. Next one, apple fritters with a thick butter coating. I have no idea what is it. Okay, with thick butter coating. So it says batter coating. So it says mizoines, of course. And it says if kizayis mizoines is eaten within kadei achilas pras ala mechia. So it's after blessing. So in all of this coating with which have the dough, so we have to make sure that we eat kizayis of coating. And for example, with apple pies, for example, it's not so simple to eat the kizayis, right? So because most of it would be the apples or other fruits, whatever the feeling is. Next one, apple juice. We say shechakol barei nefashos. And comment shechakol on all of this liquids. We say shechakol barei nefashos, but there is commentary. When eating baked apples, the chofetz baked on the apples exempt the juice in the dish as well. Okay, that's very interesting addition. So you eat the baked apple, and there is a juice inside of the apple. Usually they cut the top of the apple, they put it back. It's very interesting. So now you eat baked apple. Usually people eat it with a spoon. And there is a juice inside, so there is no separate blessing on this juice. Okay. Because it's part of the fruit. Next one, apple kugel. So the last blessing barei nefashos, but the first blessing is in question. So let's see, apple kugel. If flour is added not as a binder, but to give sustenance or flavor, make mizoines. If made without flour, or flour added as a binder, make ha'etz. Apple requires ha'etz whether raw or cooked or baked. The bracha achrana generally bare nefashos, however, in the unusual case that it is made with a flour dough, okay, and kizayis mizones is eaten within kidei achilas pras, make alamichia. So let's try to understand. So apple kugel, so it's apples, right, and they mix it with a little flour. So most of the time the flour is added only for as a binder to keep it together, right? Otherwise, how it's going to stick together, right? So binder, then this binder flour is irrelevant, and you say the blessing, but replica on the apples. But if the flour is added for the taste, meaning in a more sufficient quantity, so in this case you say baremi nemizoines. Right, and on apples it's very interesting. It doesn't matter if they cooked, right, or they raw, or they baked. You always say the fruit of the tree. Why? Because it's all of these traits. It's natural for people to eat it in this way. So with other vegetables, it's not natural for people to eat it. Like for example, raw. I don't know what would be the example. What people don't eat raw. I don't know, maybe like pumpkin. Or people start eating pumpkin. You can eat it. Maybe you can eat it. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But on a baked pumpkin, or on a baked or a cooked pumpkin, you say borei pricha adama. But on a raw, maybe it's going to be shechakol, because that's not the normal way of eating. But on apple, all of three instances, which is raw, cooked and baked, you say borei pricha. Okay. Next one, apple noodle kugel. So of course, if it's noodles, so you say baremi nemizoines for sure. So now the question is what the after blessing to make. So of course, if kizayis is eaten of these noodles, you say alamichia. If not, you say barei nefashos. I'm not sure how many apples. I've never seen this food. Like many of the foods, I understand what it is, but I never saw this dish. Okay, just so you know. Okay, but logically we understand. So next one, apple sauce, right? Shechakol barei nefashos. Okay, so we said, of course, it's like commercial one. And then commentary says that if the sauce is eaten to enhance another food, for example, latkes, so the Hanukkah is coming, and somehow, I never ate it, and I never heard about it, only here in the States. I heard that people eat the latkes with applesauce. I don't know what is the connection. Do not ask me. But I don't know whose custom is it. I'm not sure from what country. Maybe from Hungary. I'm not sure. So in this case, since this applesauce improves the latkes, right? So it does not require its own blessing. It's Ikar and Tofel rules, as we learned in the beginning of this book. Next one, applesauce cake. Applesauce. So since it's cake, so we can understand so that the blessing would be mizoines, and after the blessing is alamichia. So let's see. I'm not sure. I don't know what is it, but let's see. The commentary: the majority ingredients of this cake is flour. The mincha ha'olam is to make alamichia on kizayis of cake, even though the less of kizayis of the flour is eaten. Some poskim rule that other ingredients do not count toward the kizayis. This is in bread family product. If large volume is eaten, see page 283. So a lot of information. So let's try to understand. So first of all, we say barei min mizonos because it's cake, and this flour is chashuv, like very very important ingredient, right? And he says it's very interesting that mincha cho'olam, meaning mincha cho'olam, it's what people actually do in practice. So, and in some cases that's not what halacha says, but since people have been doing it for a long time, it's became like accepted custom to do that. So I guess if you go by Shulchan Aruch, and it's I would say it's proper to go by Shulchan Aruch, you would be fine. But if you want to go by this opinion, no problem. So basically, what this opinion says, and it's not only this apple sauce cake, other cakes. So it's very hard to determine how much is actually the dough in this cake, right? If you like subtract all of the cream on top and all of these layers of jelly and other things, or nuts or whatever is it, or in this case, these apples. So that's why people say, okay, if you ate kizayis, so of course kizayis is not enough. I would say, so even if you want to go by this opinion, so eat a little more than kizayis, like, right? Okay, so and one thing, and second thing, since it was baked, it's in a bread family. And bread family, we said if somebody is going to eat this 8 ounce. So we go by lenient opinion, right? If somebody would eat this 8 ounce of this cake, so he would need to wash and make hamotzi. Or if he ate, so after the fact, if he did not know it's going to be so tasty, right? So he ate this 8 ounce, no problem. So it's say berchas hamazon. Continue. Apple snacks, weight control snacks. Okay. 8. So I guess it's like hydrated apples. That's what I think. This apple snacks. It's my guess. Okay, yeah, made from dehydrated bits of apple, rich colored and flavored. Very interesting. Colored and flavored. Probably they colored and flavored like to present other foods. Very interesting. Make eights, of course. Although the apples are not recognizable, nevertheless, since the pieces of apple are intact, the bracha isn't changed. Amount required to bracha achrona generally not eaten. So they're very very light. This that dehydrated apples are very dehydrated food in general. It's very light, right? And even though, like as we just said, they colored, so it does not look like apple. They colored in blue, right? And they give different taste. So since the actual pieces of apple intact, so I say borei pricha eats. Very interesting. But as he said, usually people don't eat kizayis. Okay. So continue. Apple strudel. So of course, if we say mizoines, because it's like a cake, right? And ala michia. So it says the commentary. Generally, less than kizayis on mizoines is eaten within kidei hilas pras. I'm not sure why. In which case, the make berei nefashos, provided that between the filling and mizoines, at least kizayis is eaten within kidei hilas pras. Okay, so this strudel is like. 1 second. I'm not sure what's going on. Sorry. Okay, so this apple strudel is a thin dough, and they wrap these pieces of dry fruits and apples and raisins and other things. So there is not a lot of dough, but I mean, still it's possible to eat kizayis. I don't think it's such a big deal. Okay, so if you ate kizayis within 2 to 3 to 4 or up to 9 minutes, so no problem. You say ala michia on this food. Okay, continue. Apple wine. On apple wine we say shechakol borei nefashos. commented, not made from grapes, therefore is not classed as wine. So I mean, it says on the bottle it says wine, but we know it's not wine. Okay, no problem. Okay, next topic, apricot. So apricot we say choetz barenefashos. If okay, so and he says if also 8 kizayis of raisin, so the raisins would cover this thing. So I'm not going to repeat because we said it before a few times. Apricot nectar. So you say shechakol barenefashos. Okay. So apricot preserves, see fruit preserves. So we're going to get to it. Next one, artichoke. So it says bare precha adama, bare nefashos. Okay. So I mean the fruit of the ground. Artichoke leaves require inspection. Inspection prior to use. May be checked in the time of eating as follows: break off a leaf, and before eating, carefully scrutinize both sides of it. Both sides of each leaf to be eaten should be carefully checked. So I'm not sure. I mean, I never ate the fresh ones. We always buy in cans, so they usually cut off this stuff. They only have the like a stem, the root of it. Asparagus. But if you eat fresh, so you have to check for these insects. So now asparagus hadama barenefashos. Not fresh, frozen, or canned asparagus have the high incidence of infestation under the scales and in florets, and require inspection. If peeled and washed, can be used without inspection. So we usually peel it. We usually cut these heads and throw them to the garbage because it's too much of headache. Okay, so continue. Asparagus soup. So we say barenefashos. Right? I mean, asparagus food soup. But what is the first blessing? So commentators say made from finely ground or puree asparagus. If there is a solid bits of asparagus in a bowl, is unusually the case, make hadama. If not, make shechakol. The liquid has shiur of solids, kizayis, in Brocha achrana. So I'm going to explain all of this right now. See also vegetables pureed, not pureed asparagus do not need inspection for insects. I mean, if it was pureed, it's too late to check. So okay, you have asparagus food. So usually they puree it like with a mixer or something. So if it was puree and you don't see like solid pieces of any vegetable, it's not only this vegetable but any vegetables. So you say shechakol, and it's very interesting. So this after you have this puree soup, right? So you're not, even though it is a liquid. So meaning what does it mean? That you can put it in your cup and you can drink. There is no problem. On one hand, on another hand, halachically it is considered solid. So meaning what? Meaning that you need to eat only kizayas of this soup. What does it mean kizayas? Only 1 ounce, as we said. But if it would be liquid, if it's considered liquid, you would need to eat or drink, whatever you do, minimum 2.9 kizayas. That's a difference between halachic status of liquids and halachic status of solids. Avocado, choetz barenefashos. If cubed and mixed into salads, consisted mainly of hadama products, that hamam made on salads, vegetables are exempt the avocado as well. So even though the avocado is a fruit of the tree, right? But if you put it in your tomato cucumber salad, the garden salad, of course, it's always a minority, so it's covered by the other vegetables. Next one, avocado dip. Okay, generally eaten to enhance another food, in which case it is covered by the bracha on other foods. Okay, so very deep avocado dip. I don't know, maybe you carrots, dip the carrots, celery, other things. So the dip is covered. So it's all of the dips always secondary. It's never primary. So they always covered by the primary food. So we finish the letter A. We're going to B. The first one is baby food. So we say on first we say shechakol and blessing barei nefashos. And commentaries say vegetables or fruits in baby food is generally pureed. Right? Thus, if adults wishes to eat the baby food, make shechakol. So of course, baby does not make blessing, but if you decided to eat food, for example, baby does not want to eat. So what are you going to do? Throw it out? Like you're going to finish. So you say shechakol. Next one is bagel. On bagel we say chamotzi and birchas hamazon. Commentary: make hamotzi on a whole bagel rather than on a piece. So don't. So as we said before, it's the bigger piece of bread, and if it's a whole, complete loaf or complete bagel, it's more important than sliced pieces, right? So try to make the blessing on the complete, even though you after you make a blessing, for example, you want to cut them in half and you put some, like you want to put a cream cheese, there is no problem, but first make sure that that you say the blessing on a complete. So if you want to cut later on, okay, you can cut later on. Just like take a small piece, eat like few crumbs even, and that would be enough. And then cut it and put the cream cheese or whatever you want on top of the bagel. Okay, so continue with commentary. Benching required only if kizayis of the bread is eaten with kidei achilas pras. I would say that the bagels they're so heavy, so to eat kizayis, I'm not sure. Maybe it's like if you cut in half, the bagels like normal size. Even I think like a quarter of that size would be kizayis. I think that's so heavy. Continue. Bagel sweet. So on sweet bagel we say mizoines in alamichia. Okay, commentary. A type of the sweet rolls sold in grocery stores in Eretz Israel, which most people eat as a snack rather than in a meal, and then with a meal. Since it is eaten by most people for a snack, the bracha is mizoines. Okay, but if in other countries, I'm not sure. I'm not aware of similar food in other countries. It's only in Eretz Israel. Okay. So next one, I'm not sure. Begelach hard. Oh, begelach hard. Okay. Also called Oriental begelach or ka'ak. So we say mizoines and alamichia. This is a bread family product. If large volume is eaten, see this in this page. So basically, it would be he would need to say birchas hamazon. So sometimes they would come like a small, like round thing, right? And they dry, okay, like crackers, but they in like round form. Okay, next one, bagel chips. Bagel chips, we say mizoines, alamichia. Okay, I'm not sure what bagel chips are. Maybe some kind of piece. I'm not sure. Okay, no comments. Continue. Baked apple. On baked apple, we say chofetz barei nefashos. Okay, no problem. Baked beans, chadama barei nefashos. No problem. I mean, that's normal when you bake beans. That's normal. Okay. Banana, You say Bara Pricha Dama because we said palm is not a tree. It's actually that it's not a tree. So we say the fruit of the ground, of banana, and Bareni Fashos. Continue. Banana bread. On banana bread we say mizoines, right? Because it's bread, and alamichia. Why is it alamichia? Let's see. Banana bread, despite the name, is a type of cake. Okay, I'm not sure if I had it. The major ingredients in this cake is flour. Therefore, make mizoines and alamichia. The mincha choelam is to make alamichia on kizayis of cake, even though the less of kizayis of flour is eaten. Some poskim rule that other ingredients do not count toward the kizayis. This is a bread family product, so if he ate 8 ounces, so he would need to make birchas hamazon. So it says banana bread, but it's actually the cake. But I mean, for us, okay. So even though it is a cake, it is sweet. So it is, but it's still in a bread family product. Okay, no problem. Banana mashed. So we say bare pricha dama, the fruit of the ground, bare nefashos. So why is that? I mean, we say if it's mashed, why it should be different? Okay. So commentary: banana retained this distinctive texture and appearance, and remains recognizable even they are mashed. Therefore, make hadama. So I mean, you can tell that it is banana. So okay, so I say bare hadama, bare nefashos. Continue. Go ahead.
So the banana bread, even though you said it's a cake, but it's part of the bread family.
Yes.
There's no washing of hands, right?
One second. It's a good question. It depends. So if at the outset you're planning to eat these 8 ounces, let's say that's all you have. You don't have any other foods. That's all you have, and you put it on a scale. So it's 10 ounces or 15 ounces. Let's say that's what you're going to eat, and of course you're going to say the blessing. Absolutely, you're going to wash your hands. But if you start eating, you're planning to eat like a small piece, and then you decided to eat a bigger piece. So in this case, yeah, you did not wash your hands. If you only it's acknowledged that like you ate so much later on, so that's it. It's too late to wash your hands. So you just say birchas hamazon. But if you're going to eat at least 1 more ounce, right, and it's going to be at least 8 ounces, so of course you go to wash your hands, make the blessing, and eat this last ounce and say birchas hamazon. So as we said, it depends. But so if you plan like this, for sure it's a meal. So if you did not plan, so anyway, the last blessing is birchas hamazon. Okay. Any other questions on the things that we said? Okay, so somehow I thought that we're going to cover it in 3 classes. Okay, so probably more than 3 classes. But okay, there is no rush. Okay, so continue. Banana split. So we say the last blessing bare nefashos. So what is it? Commentary. Generally, the fruit, nuts, whipped cream, and toppings of the banana split are eaten to enhance the ice cream, and are covered by the shachakol made on ice cream. Okay, see also ice cream. So all this in improvement of the ice cream. So toppings, all this, as we said, it's always secondary. So there is no separate blessing. Next one is barley cooked. So barley we say mizoines alemechia. Next one is barley soup. So we say mizoines because it's, as we said, it's an important ingredient. And commentary: if kizayis of barley is eaten between kidei hilas pras, make alamichia. If not, make bare nefashos, provided between the other ingredients and the barley at least kizayis is eaten within kidei hilas pras. This liquid counts as with solids. to the minimum of kizayis. Okay, so let's try to understand. So there is a barley soup. So even though the soup is called barley, you have other vegetables, you have potatoes, carrots, and other things, right? So usually, from my experience, it's not so much barley that you would eat even kizayis in these 3 to 4 to 9 minutes. I don't think so. I mean, of course, you can put a lot of barley in there, but usually it's not the case in the soup. So in this case, you say you don't say ala mechia, right? You say barei nefashos, and but make sure that you ate enough of soup, and liquid of the soup, as we said again before, it's count as a salad, even it is liquid. So continue. Batter dipped chicken, batter dipped fish, right? So it's not so simple. It depends, as we said before. It depends how much of this of the dough is this batter is on a chicken or in a fish. So commentary: if made with a thick coating, mizoines, right? And with a thin coating, shechakol. Thin coating meaning that it's like I'm not sure how to describe it. Like thick, you see like thick. You understand? I mean, they try to sell, especially if they sell in the store. So of course, this flour costs much less than the chicken or the fish. I mean, so they would put a lot of dough and then inside a tiny piece of fish. Okay, so for this way, for sure you say mizoines. Okay. Bracha achrana with a thick coating and kizayis mizoines ingredient eaten. Kidei hilas pras ala mechia. So if you're going to eat kizayis, even a thick coating, I don't know, maybe it's a very thick coating. Yeah, I would say maybe you're going to eat, yes. So, but if not, if you did not eat, there is no problem. You just combine this coating with chicken or with a fish, and there is no problem. Continue, next one. Batter dipped vegetables. So commentary, so it's not so clear. So we say, if made with a thick coating, mizoines. Okay, same approach. With a thin coating, chadama. Okay. Continue. Bean soup. Chadama barei nefashos. The liquid counts with the salads toward the minimum of the kizayis. If the soup contains barley, see above, right? So again, with the soup, it's very simple. Like I'm not sure how many spoons of soup you need to eat. It depends on the spot also, but it's very simple to eat soup, enough soup in 3 to 4 minutes, and to make the last blessing. Next one, beans cooked, chadama barei nefashos. Next one, beans green, wax, yellow or Italian. Chadama barei nefashos. I mean, they're all beans. Bean sprouts. So we say shechakol barei nefashos. Why? Because it does not grow from the ground. And plus, it's typically mixed with other ingredients, so it's always secondary. Beef stew. That's a good question. So we said that the beef stew are typically made with the small pieces of meat and vegetables, which are eaten together in a single spoonful. And neither the meat nor vegetable are eaten as enhancer. Therefore, make one bracha on the majority of the ingredients, which covers all components of the stew. So it's small pieces. It's considered halachically a mixture. So you eat it with one spoonful, you say one blessing, what is more? I mean, some people they have more vegetables, some people have more meat. Okay, beer. On beer we say shechakol, or all the liquids, and barei nefashos. Next one, beets. We say barei pri chadama, barei nefashos. This food I'm not sure, but I'm going to read. Barley roll. I'm not sure. So it says Hamotzi Birchas Hamazon. So commentary. Make the hamotzi on a whole roll rather than a piece. Okay. And bench only if kizayis of bread is eaten within kidei achilas pras. Okay. That's it. So as usual with all breads. Okay. So blackberries. On blackberry we say cho'etz. Blackberry we say cho'etz, right? And barene fashos. Note, may require inspection for insects prior to using. Okay, so yeah, in all of these berries, it could be insects. Have I personally seen any insect? I have not. But we still check. We still wash with the whole procedure of washing, just in case, of course. Next one, blackberry wine. So blackberry wine we say shechakol, barene fashos. Not made from grapes, therefore not classed as wine. So blackberry wine is Manischewitz makes this wine. So and it says actually on the bottle to say shechakol. Okay, next one is blintz. We say mizroines, but after blessing is questionable. No, not questionable, but let's see. It says sour cream is eaten to enhance the blintz. Is covered by Brocha on blintz. Okay. If kizayis of the shell was eaten, within kidei achilas pras, make ala michia. Otherwise, make barene fashos, provided that between the filling and the shell, at least one kizayis is eaten. So okay, so blintz, it's like I don't know what's it called, like a pancakes but very thin, so you can make a wrap. So it looks like they put ice, the sour cream inside as a filling. Right? You can put jelly, you can put whatever you want in there. Right? So if you eat, but it's very heavy actually. So I think of course it depends on your frying pan, like how big is it, but I think one blintz like that would be at least kizayis. I think that's what I think logically, because they're very heavy. Even though they're thin, they're very heavy. Continue. Blueberries. Cho'etz barene fashos. Blueberries. If sour cream is eaten to enhance the blueberries, no additional bracha for cream, of course. Continue. The Bracha Rishona on a packaged blueberries, the type one purchased in the supermarket, is cho'etz. For wild blueberries from low, approximately 9 inches or less, bushes make chadama. Regarding Bracha Achrana requirements for the natural item, which a whole, see the whole blueberry. For example, whole blueberry, see page 245. Not the blueberry picked from the wild bushes, are sometimes infested with small white worms and require inspection prior to use. Okay, so let's understand about these blueberries. So commercially, when they grow the blueberries, it's on a tall bushes, and halachically it's a tree. Right? What's the definition of a tree? That survives the winter and produce the fruits from exactly the same branches. Could be new branches, but also from old branches. So that's called the tree. And but if you get the wild ones, so the wild ones they were closer to the ground. So if it's less than 9 inches, right? 9 inches, it's a 3 tefachim, right? That's how it's counted. 3 handbreadth, right? 3 tefachim high, so it's considerably next to the ground. So then you say in these blueberries, you say barapri chodama. Okay, and in wild they say it could be infested, so check for the white worms. Okay. So 1 second, let me see time. Okay, so let's do the last one maybe. So the last one is burekas. The first blessing mizoines, but let's see. Comment: if the kizayis of the mizoines is eaten within kidei hilas pras, so make ala michia, right? If not, make barene fashos. So I mean, is like a style, is a stuffing with a stuffing. So if you ate only shell, which is from made of mizoines for kizay, with size of kizayis. Weight of weight of kizai. So I think it depends on the size of barakas. Maybe 1 or 1.5 would be enough to say the alamihia. Okay, so no problem. So let's stop here. Any questions on what we said or any topic? Perfect. If you have any questions, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Rob. When we eat. Like when we separate dairy from meat and we chew, after we eat dairy, we have to eat a piece of bread or a piece of fruit to get a drink. Do we do the same thing with the fish to separate it from the meat?
Yes. It's very appropriate. So you're right 100%. That's what we do. So usually, for example, on Shabbos, like when we have a bigger meal. So it's proper to eat fish and meat or chicken, whatever you eat, right? So first we eat fish, right? Fish table. So, and then we take out the plates. We take out all the utensils, the forks, the knives, whatever you ate, whatever you were using, right, to eat, and we put clean plates. Usually people take a drink. Take sip of drink, whatever. I mean, you sit around the table, you're talking, and you drink something. You eat piece of bread. That's enough. It's not that like you have to go and rinse your mouth. That's too much. Just eat something hard, like piece of bread or salad or whatever you eat, and eat and do the little drink. That's enough. So as we said, it's the danger is spiritual, right? It's not like physical danger. There is nothing wrong with fish, nothing wrong with meat. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I think there's a question that popped up on the
please. Yeah. Go ahead.
site.
Please.
You can see. They're asking the 9th of Kislev, a special Shabbos. I think they're asking, is that a special Shabbos? The 9th of Kislev?
9th of the... I think... Yud Tes, it's 19th, no? It's not 9... I think 19th, it's... if it's about 19th, if I remember correctly, that's the Chabadniks call it Rosh Hashanah of Chassidus. I have separate Rosh Hashanah, believe it or not. And I think the Balatanya, the first Chabad Rebbe, Zatzal, he was released from the prison. So they celebrate as Rosh Hashanah. And I think when he was in prison, he wrote this Tanya, this book. So that's, for them, it's very special. But for other people, it's regular Shabbos. And just remember on the fourth, what is fourth? On Sunday night, we changed the prayers. We changed the prayers on in Shmona Esrei. 1 second. In Shmona Esrei. It's Mincha. No, it doesn't matter. It should be in the Mincha. 1 second. I'm looking. Very interesting. Okay, so Birchas Hashanim, in a year of the prosperity, right? I think that's how to translate, in year of prosperity. So until now, we were saying, I don't have the right siddur, but let's see. Let me translate. We say send us blessing. So in the middle, if you say in parentheses, we would say send us blessing. And in the winter season, so now from December 4th, it starts. It's actually 5th, December 5th, but it actually starts on the night before. For us, it's the night before, which is December 4th, which is going to be this Sunday, as I think. So we have to add in this blessing, send us dew and rain for our good. Right, so we make these changes. So check your siddur, you'll see. Right, why is it? Why do we go by the regular calendar? By Christian calendar? Because it's connected to the equinox, the autumn equinox that is someday in October, I think. If I remember correct, someday in October, and from that day we count 60 days, right? And its days is actually changing every century, right? So in this century is going to be like December 5th and 6th. So meaning that we do it like the day before, and in a year preceding to the year in which February has 29 days, right? Then we say on the next day, meaning on December 5th. But this year, I think we say it on December 4th, meaning this Sunday. So check your siddur and make sure that you say it properly, because otherwise we have to return and fix. So the whole Shemona Esrei could be invalid if you don't say the correct blessing. Okay.
And that's in the Shemona Esrei?
Yeah, Shemona Esrei. Yes, Shemona Esrei.
Okay.
It's year. I think it's translated as years of prosperity. So if it's after you ask for a refuah to send us complete recovery, so the next blessing. Next blessing is a year of prosperity. So check. So this Sunday, big change. Must remember. So I usually I do some, like usually in the shul they clap for first week to remind that there is a change, or somebody would say very loud. I mean, the person does everybody a favor to remind that there is a change. But after sometimes you get used to, and we say it until the Pesach. Until the Pesach, because that's when the rains were beneficial, but not in Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael, we need the rains much earlier. It's all these rains were beneficial from this point on until the Pesach in exile in Babylonia. So of course we don't live in Babylonia, but we still keep the tradition. So all of the diaspora, that's what we do. And in Israel, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they start saying on 17th of Cheshvan, meaning in previous months. So it's like 3 weeks, a little more than 3 weeks before people say in the diaspora, because that's when they need the rain in Israel. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if not, so yeah, go ahead.
One more, Rob, sorry. I was listening to your series of Kitzruzan. You were teaching one of the students, and we're talking about how he would have to go to work in sweatpants and to wear a baseball cap for his kippah and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to know was about do we wear or should we wear our when we wear our tzitzis to work? Should they be tucked in, or can we leave them out, or is it not good to leave them out?
Okay, so it's very very good question. So I remember this guy, Baruch Hashem. He's very very special person. He was actually the first student. That's how the series started. He was the first student, very close to Rabbi Reuven Shlita, and it's very interesting. So he's working in that business is sometimes it's shady. I mean, he's a straight guy, he's an honest person, but sometimes it's not whatever they do, it's not so straight, I think, right? But he would work in a basement, something like it's like a pawn shop. So in pawn shop, people would bring some other things. Sometimes, like I don't know, they keep it in the basement, and it would be like dirty in there. So he would work in his sweatpants, right, and sweatshirt, of course, because it's easier. Like he has to move, I don't know, like furniture, like some heavy things up and down. That's what he was doing. And in this case, he asked if he is allowed to put the tzitzis in, because it's he was afraid to make it dirty or rip it. Like they can get stuck between some things, and then that's it. They're going to rip and making them invalid, right? So we allow them to put it in, and the kippah, like if you bend like all the time, so it would fall off. So even that's what I do. Like for example, I was today was cleaning the yard, gather all of the leaves. You have to bend so many times. So I put a hat hat on top. I mean, otherwise the kippah is going to fly off, right? So that's for convenience. For tzitzis in or tzitzis out. So very interesting thing. So there is two answers that I'm going to give. So one answer is for Jews. So there are different customs. So Ashkenazi custom usually to wear tzitzis out. Not everybody, but majority people wear tzitzis out. Sephardi custom, somehow, I'm not sure, they wear tzitzis in. As I understand, Rabbi Reuven wears tzitzis out, so it's like a custom, whatever they want to do. Like, not everybody follow the same. So some people they try to hide. They say, I don't know, whatever they try to do. So it's everybody knows that you're Jewish anyway. Like somehow all of these non-Jews, they have the smell. I don't know how they sense that person acts like the biggest goy. He acts like more goy as like the biggest goy. You understand? And these goyim, they still know, this non-Jews, they still know that he's not one of them. He's a Jew. All right, but for people who go through conversion, it's very important to know. You're not allowed to show this external attributes. So why is that? So the answer is very simple, because not everybody is going through the last step, to the conversion. So, and it's or they delay or something, right? And it sends their own message. So if somebody decided to change, like I said, you know what, I want time out, I'm going to learn more, and that's it, I'm going to take the tzitzis out, and now it's going to create a big hill Hashem, right? Or other people, he was wearing kippah, now he's without kippah, which is there is no problem. He was not obligated to wear kippah to begin with. You understand? That's not part of the requirement for conversion to wear kippah. You understand? So, and it could create a problem with Hil Hashem. So we usually recommend people to wear tzitzis out, right? If he wants to, only when the day of conversion is set. Let's say it's set next Monday 3 p.m. Let's say, right? So next Monday 3 p.m. Okay, yeah. So you already can start wearing tzitzis out. But otherwise, if you want so much you want, so okay, only in, not out. And of course, baseball cap is preferable to kippah, because there is some people, they get into it so much that they look Jewish and they all of the external attributes, so they forget that they're not Jews, and sometimes they start dating single people, start dating Jews, and sometimes they look more Jewish than the actual Jews. You understand? And they forget they need to convert. So that's a big issue that we noticed over the years. And if you look at this, we had this video about this Amin of Russia from Arizona and two Christian people, right? Two Christian people that were in there. So they dress more Jewish than the Rabbi, right? And that tefillin, if you see how they wear tefillin, there are a few pictures, like in the morning down, only two of them wear tefillin correctly. All of the clowns, all of the Jews in there, none of them wear tefillin. One wear too low, one it's like the crooked this way, crooked that way. None of them, only these non-Jews wear correctly tefillin. 100% kosher, 100%. They dress more properly than other Jews, and in this created this sense with other people. Of course they're Jews. What are you talking about? I mean, that's the problem. So I mean, the problem is them, but problem is somebody who is going through conversion is that people send their own message and then they quit. They decided not to go for whatever reason. They're not obligated. They decided not to go through, and it's going to create big hill Hashem. Or other people would treat them as a Jews, so also not appropriate in some separate cases, like to invite them on Pesach Seder and other things. Understand? That's the thing. That's the answer. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So if no other questions, so let's stop here. I wish you good Shabbos until next week. It was a successful week. Baruch Hashem, we did overtime almost every day. So until next week. Thank you. Good night.